If you've ever been told to just calm down or take a deep breath when you're overwhelmed, only to feel even more frustrated, you're not alone. A lot of advice about nervous system regulation was not designed for ADHD brains. And if you've been struggling to stay regulated, but feel like you're constantly dysregulated, you're not broken. Perhaps the advice you are following is. So, today we're busting the biggest myths about nervous system regulation for ADHD. And I'll show you what actually works for your brain. If you're an ADHD woman entrepreneur, you already have enough pressure running a business, staying on top of tasks, and managing emotions that can sometimes feel like a roller coaster, especially as you start putting yourself out there. But when you're constantly getting advice like, just meditate and you'll be fine, or if you were more disciplined, you wouldn't get so overwhelmed, or you just need better willpower to stay calm under stress, it makes you feel like you're the problem. But guess what? You're not. By the end of this video, you'll understand why ADHD brains regulate emotions differently and why it's actually not a discipline issue. You'll understand the biggest myths about nervous system regulation that are keeping you stuck and get ADHD-friendly strategies to calm your nervous system and get ADHD-friendly strategies to calm your nervous system that actually work without trying to force yourself into that Zen mode or pretending like you don't have emotions. So if you're ready to ditch, the guilt and even shame and learn how to actually support your ADHD brain, let's get into it. So myth number one, ADHD brain should just practice mindfulness and deep breathing. All right, now, so here's the thing. I do talk about mindfulness a lot, but not in the context of regulating our nervous system. I talk about mindfulness, which can include movement, and you're going to hear in a moment why that's so important. But I do talk about mindfulness in terms of increasing our focus. But when we're talking about nervous system regulation, pausing to try and use a mindfulness practice to get regulated is going to be hugely ineffective. That's because when you're dysregulated, the only thing your nervous system is focused on is being able to get out of danger because you're either in your fight or flight response or your shutdown response. And those are survival responses. So the only thing that matters is that you get to safety. So you're not going to be able to focus if you're dysregulated, and you're not going to be able to do mindfulness or meditation when you're dysregulated. So the truth is ADHD brains often need movement to regulate. In fact, sitting still can actually make dysregulation worse. So a better strategy is to try active regulation. Techniques like pacing, walking, fidgeting. That's why fidget toys are such a big deal, or even stressing while processing emotions. I'll even share that my favorite fidget tool is this little ring. It's Relaxo ring put out by, I think it's pronounced Sage, Saje. And you can get cheap ones on Amazon, but this one's like actually got some pressure point massage going on with it that it explains when you buy it. They're not necessarily inexpensive, but they're awesome. And so it's a nice way to help you regulate your nervous system in maybe a more subtle way that you could do in a meeting down below so that others don't even know it's happening. There's other ways that you can do this too, and we'll talk about some of those later. Myth number two, if you were disciplined, you wouldn't struggle to stay calm. All right, the truth is emotion regulation is a neurological issue, not a willpower problem. Anything that suggests that you just need more willpower is just ridiculous. A better strategy is instead of trying to control your emotions or push them away because you're just not going to let it bother you, work with your nervous system using co-regulation, so connecting with a trusted person, or other sensory grounding techniques like a weighted blanket, cold water, a hot shower, things like that. And we'll get more into those kind of things later. But you've heard me talk about before how when we don't deal with our emotions, we're like, it's fine, I'm not going to let it bother me. In a lot of ways, we're actually bypassing the work we need to do and instead suppressing it. And you know what happens when we suppress stuff? It's going to bubble up later. Myth number 3, if you do everything right, you'll never get triggered. This was almost laughable, right? It's like, I've been in the field of mental health for 25 years. I have done a lot of my own work, both in therapy, with coaches, on my own. And I will tell you what, the truth is, no one, ADHD or not, can avoid emotional triggers forever. The goal isn't to never react, it's to recover faster when you do get hooked into something. A better strategy then is to practice self compassion, have some grace for yourself, and work on a repair instead of perfectionism. So when you get dysregulated, focus on how quickly you can reset rather than blaming and shaming yourself, because all that's going to do is make you be dysregulated longer and more susceptible to a greater amount of emotional triggers in the first place. Myth number 4, perfectionism will protect you from criticism. Oh dear. My younger self does not like to hear that because I don't know about y'all, but one of the ways I masked was through perfectionism. And I know subconsciously, like I wasn't aware I was doing it, but subconsciously, my little girl parts knew that, oh my gosh, if you make things perfect, then you'll reduce the likelihood that you get criticized, which is false. I mean, sure, maybe you'll get a little bit less criticism, but there's always gonna be people who have a problem with how you've done something, especially when you're an entrepreneur. There's gonna be people who disagree with you, for sure. Because the truth is, perfectionism leads to chronic stress and burnout. That's something I learned the hard way in my mid-ish 20s when I found myself super anxious and depressed. I was like, didn't know what was going on, and I eventually learned, like, "Oh, I'm a perfectionist." And so I was stressing myself out. And a lot of that now I know was me masking my ADHD. So we don't want to try to aim for perfect. We want to go for good enough. Because here's the thing, no matter how perfect it is, you'll never be able to control how others see you. And it's really their business, not yours, how other people see you, to be honest. So a better strategy is to shift your focus from avoiding criticism to building resilience, both to reframe mistakes as growth opportunities, but also to be able to reset when someone has a critical comment or a hater or a troll says something so that you can reset more quickly and get back into life, get back into your business. Okay, so now we're going to talk about ADHD friendly strategies for nervous system regulation. Number 1, and this is probably the most important, so we're starting with it, is it's essential to move your body to regulate instead of sitting still. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about why this is, right? So, whether you are in your shutdown response or your fight or flight response, fluid movement with breath is going to help regulate both responses. The shutdown response needs any movement at all. The fight or flight response needs more fluid movement with breath. Movement, especially with ADHD, is essential. So, whether that's swing and noticing your breath, going for a walk, even if all you can do is do like a fidget and notice your breath while you do it, it's going to help you regulate more quickly. You could even try some bilateral stimulation like the butterfly tap. This can really help you regulate as well. Strategy number 2, it's important to use bottom up regulation. That is regulation that gets your body involved. So, not just mindset work. Your body needs physical signals that it's safe. So, this could be cold water splashes, deep pressure like weighted blankets, or humming is a good one. That's why in yoga, when we chant Om, there's a hum to it. So humming can do that. These things activate the vagus nerve, which tells your brain to relax. Something else that does too is when you have a like a regulated breath, so your full, slow breath, that also tells your vagus nerve that it's okay to relax. Because here's the thing, when you're in real danger, Your body is not going to allow you to take slow breaths because you just have to get to safety. So if you can get yourself to take some slow breaths and maybe adding movement to make it easier. One of my most favorite things I like to do is do the calmness mudra first and then do some breath. You're like shaking out some of the energy, but then do the breath. That is going to send a cue of safety to your brain so that you'll be like, "Oh, okay, I'm safe in this moment." So that's another good strategy. Strategy number 3 is to create an emergency reset plan for yourself. And this is possibly going to be unique to you. So think about it this way, like what helps you feel grounded when you're spiraling? And then create a go-to list. This could be step outside for fresh air. It could be playing a calming or energizing song. So for me, I'll use Hertz music a lot, Hertz, for different frequencies that I want to create. So that can be a good one. It might be the calmness mudra and then some volcano breathing. Inhale up, exhale down. A little slower than that, though, right? So it could be whatever kind of breathing you want to do. It could be calling or connecting with a friend so that you get that co regulation. The mirror neurons in your brain will sense that your friend is regulated. I mean, don't call someone who's never regulated. And then that will help you regulate because ADHD brains regulate better with connection. If you've ever felt like you're failing at staying calm, let me remind you, you're not failing. Number one, it's unrealistic to expect that anyone would stay calm all the time. In fact, it's not even possible. And even if you are in the state of regulation, the ventral vagal response, that response isn't just like a zened out calm. It can, like right now, I'm regulated, but I'm excited, and so you can feel like I'm in flow, I'm engaged, I'm joyful as I share this, but I wouldn't say I'm zened out calm right now. I don't know that you'd sense that from me. So just remember, calm 100% of the time isn't even the goal, but also you just need different tools that actually work for your ADHD brain. I want to do a quick recap of ADHD-friendly nervous system strategies. We talked today about moving your body to regulate, using bottom-up regulation techniques. That means getting the body involved, not just doing this mindset stuff because that's not going to work. And then having your own emergency reset plan so that when you get dysregulated in the moment, you can get yourself back to a regulated state. I'd love to know, which of these strategies are you going to try first? Drop a comment below. I'd love to hear what works for you. And if this helped, hit like and subscribe and hit that little bell next to it to get notifications for more ADHD friendly insights and strategies. Plus, if you're interested in doing more work on nervous system regulation, today I just shared a little bit. I offer a monthly challenge that starts at the beginning of every month. So click the link in the description to register. Or if you go to that page and you're taken to a pop-up that says join the priority notification list, that just means registration isn't open yet for the next month. So make sure you check it out. I would love to see you there. Otherwise, I'll see you next time. Take care.